Brother, I'm going, wanna wow Hulk Hogan. If all I get's a moment, I'll make sure it's an explosion. Cause lately I've been seeing stars, trying to kick out on this short course. But it's no holds barred, middle fingers like I'm Stone Cold.
What is up, everybody? This is your boy, WeTooDeep, and this is another episode of the Slapping Me Wrestling podcast. We got a lot to talk about, so let's go ahead and jump on in. Before we talk about wrestling, let me shout out, QR codes in the bottom of the screen takes you to WWE Shop. We are an affiliate partner here. Support the show by buying your merch through that link right there. Support Junkyard Media Group. Go to junkyardmediagroup.com. We got all the podcast audio episodes. You can go and watch or listen to there. You get the blogs, Wavy D's, blogs on Monday Night Raw. Cody and James do their own blog. Cody just wrote one about Cody Rhodes and this story going into it. And he wrote one, a thank you letter to Sting if you're interested into all of that. Again, that's junkyardmediagroup.com, slapping meat, wrestling.com, get your slapping meat merch. And yeah, if you're listening on podcast, appreciate you. Leave a 5-star review if you love it. As always, a 1-star if you don't like it. Let us know we need to do better. If you're listening on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. If you don't like it, hit that thumbs down button twice. That's the important part. Hit it twice. Comment up in there if you need to. Join the Discord. Link is also in the description. All these links are in the description of the episode. So with the housekeeping out the way. Well, actually, one more thing in housekeeping. My co-host on Tuesdays, DJ Wavy D, he's on spring break right now, tearing up Miami. Hope you enjoy that trip. Hope you enjoy this episode if you're listening. Don't burn the town down, man. Don't burn the town down. But yeah, enjoy yourself. But with that, let's jump into wrestling content. So before we talk about Roman, I know that's what y'all came here. Tuesday, I promised you this sort of too hot to handle message that may get WeTooDeep canceled forever, right? And I think I'm going to deliver. I hope I don't get canceled forever, but I think I might deliver, right? But before we get to that, I got to talk about this post that Junkyard Media Group creator and podcast host from Beyond the Junkyard James, my brother, he made this. I don't know if you can see it on the screen. This little post, it's in the Discord. If you're listening on podcast, you're gonna be like, what the hell are you talking about? He made this post and it says AEW receives, and then he lists the 3 women that they've gotten in the past 6 months: Mariah May, Deonna Purrazzo, Mercedes Moné, and then WWE receives Jade Cargill. And he sort of he plays it up like it's some trade. Well, here's where the truth has to come in. Eventually we got to stop just posting hot takes and start telling truth. Right? Eventually we got to start telling the truth on the matter. So here's the truth on the matter. Where's Mariah May? She's second fiddle to Toni Storm right now. And is there a story where, yeah, she's probably going to turn? Sure. That's fine. But at this current moment, what has Mariah May done that justified her coming to AEW, where you guys said, oh, this is going to be a big thing? No. And then my second thing is just the immediate star power that she had. Did she have any? Maybe in Japan, but to the American audience, right? And I don't think this has clicked with you guys in the how long ago I've been in the company? 5 years. In the 5 years that I've been telling you about this, you got to connect with the American audience. And obviously it's not there yet. Obviously it's not a long-term connection with some of these wrestlers. Cool, you're doing well in London. You're doing well overseas, but you got to connect with your main audience, which is the American audience. And Mariah May doesn't have much, the only reason I knew of Mariah May is because she used to, she promotes her before she got to AEW, maybe even now that she's in AEW, she used to promote her OnlyFans all the time. And, back when, I was a little bit more into the IWC, she would be promoting all that stuff, going to shows and all of that. And then she started training, like, but I don't see anything special there. She's just she's just a hot girl that the fans of AEW cheer for. There's nothing there, right? Deonna Purrazzo, I've told you, she's my favorite women's wrestler that's active right now. I think her character is great. I think she's athletic. I think, she's got it. She's the only one I'll sit here and be like, yeah, right. But my question is with her is, since she's come in, has she grown the amount of people who knew her name? Or is it the same 800,000 people that already knew who she was in TNA? Who already knew who she was when she was in NXT, and who already knew who she was when she was running the indies as one of the top indie wrestlers in the mid 2010s, 2014, 2015, one of the best, right? Or it's the same people who know her. She hasn't gotten any new fan base to come to AEW. The casuals, as much as you want to hate on them, they don't care for her. Right? And then you bring in Mercedes Moné, who she has some star power, but she comes in with some awful, let's be honest, we got to be truthful here. We're telling the truth. With some awful entrance music. Awful sympathy music, like sympathy. I can't even say it. Sympathy. Good. Look, I can't talk today, apparently. Some orchestra music, and then you CEO, and then James on his podcast yesterday, he's gonna say, "Oh, they've never practiced the CEO chant before in the crowd, and it was hot. It felt like it's been done." Bro, they're literally just chanting the music. They don't have to practice it. They're just chanting the music. She was, look, AEW did her marketing right with that music, though. As bad as the song is, you have a built-in chant there, right? It's no different than Seth Rollins with the woes. You have it built in for him to have a cheer there. Shinsuke's, right? Shinsuke's music is built in for you to cheer to it and to sort of sing along. They built in that chant in the music. Now, the music itself sucks, right? The presentation of her, look, I'm sorry. Look, y'all can say it's like creative, but what the hell is going on with her hair, man? 18 different colors, weird patterns. That stuff's distracting, right? And then she comes in, and what have I always said? The Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks, whatever you want to call her, what her weakness is. Promos. She comes in and immediately bombs this first promo. Says the most Tony Khan line of all time. Tony Khan made sure that she said this line. Like in a crack-induced state, I can just imagine Tony Khan, Mercedes, you gotta say this line. You got to say this is where the revolution goes global. You got to. Here's $10 million a year, reportedly. Say this line. You're a game changer. You're the best. I love wrestling. Shut up, Tony. Damn. No, the revolution is already global. Do you not remember about a month ago when Perth, Australia was taken over by Rhea Ripley? That's the revolution going global. When the revolution, when France is taking over next month, or excuse me, in May, so in 2 months, when Germany is taking over at the end of August, when Toronto, Canada is taking over in during Money in the Bank, I believe in June or early July, when Saudi Arabia gets 2 shows and gets taken over, the revolution is already global, and it had nothing to do with Mercedes Moné. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. So basically, the point of his post is to say, look, we got these 3 stars. Now, what did you do with Mercedes? You regulated her to be the tag team partner of the same woman who broke her leg a year ago. Now, we know where this story's going. You want to talk about predictability? Oh, WWE's too predictable. Okay, well, we know where the story's going. She's turning on Willow, and she's getting revenge for her injuring her. We know where this is going. This is predictable. And you regulate who's supposed to be the biggest star you ever signed, and if the reports of the $10 million per year are true, if that's accurate, the highest paid wrestler active right now, right? And I say active for a reason, because Brock Lesnar is the only, right? If it's $10 million per year like it's being reported, that is more money than John Cena made last year in the WWE. That is more money than Roman Reigns made last year. That's almost 3 times the amount of money Becky Lynch, the highest paid women's wrestler in WWE, made last year. And you regulate her to the mid card? You don't even put her against Toni Storm right away? Here's what I do if I'm debuting someone I'm paying millions of dollars a year more than Roman Reigns. Like, I'm paying double the amount Roman Reigns made in 2023 to someone who hasn't wrestled in a year, and you just regulated to the mid card on the tag team division. You get that shit? Like that hypocrisy. If I don't want to be in the tag division, I don't want to be in the tag division in WWE. They're not doing enough here. And then you come back and you get regulated to the tag division. Stop telling me it's about wrestling. Look, Milwaukee Mike got it right this time. This one is about the bag. She wants the bag. And if I'm an AEW fan, how do you cheer Mercedes Moné coming into your company when she's stealing money? Like, stealing money. At the end of the day, when she's regulated to the mid-card and she's stealing money, basically, with the premise of I'm going back to WWE anyway. Like, Tony Khan, how do you justify that decision when she's already made up her mind that once this contract's over, she's going back? How do you sit here and enjoy that, knowing that it's only going to be short term, and right? And she just came for the bag. Milwaukee Mike's right about this one. This one is about the bag. I'm telling you, if I'm Tony Khan, I'm paying her that much. I better not see Mercedes Moné once on an indie show. She's all exclusive wrestling at that point. She's exclusive to AEW if I'm Tony Khan. At that price tag, not risking you getting hurt anywhere else. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. But the point of his post is, we got these 3 stars over here, these 3 women that AEW got. And all you got is Jade, and you haven't used Jade put in the Royal Rumble. No. See, look, man. It's different than that. It's different than that. Of your 3 stars, how many of y'all got in a Super Bowl commercial? Jade Cargill got in a Super Bowl commercial. That Mountain Dew Baja Blast commercial, that's Jade Cargill coming off the top rope. Of your 3 stars, how many of you are going to potentially, be a superstar? Because Sasha's been here. She never reached superstardom. She was mid-card most of her career in WWE. Let's just be honest. Not taken away from it. Her NXT stuff is great. That match with Bayley's my favorite NXT match of all time. But let's just be honest. She never reached it at the top level. There's that potential Jade Cargill will. And why have we not used Jade yet? Well, I want to propose something, but before I propose it, let's just realize Jade Cargill don't need to be used right now. You don't put out, right? You don't go buy $10 million of gold, or in Jade's case, diamonds. You don't go out and buy diamonds and then put them out in the mud. There's no room for her yet. We gotta shine up the circumstance. We gotta put her in a place where she'll shine. You don't go and buy diamonds and put them in the mud. You go and buy diamonds and you make sure it's in a clean environment where she's gonna shine, right? That's where you put Jade Cargill. So you know what they're doing? They're allowing her to grow. Because, Tony Khan did this thing where, I don't know, he didn't build a performance center. So his women's wrestlers and his mid-card men's wrestlers and the guys who may be new to the business, could practice. So you know what Jade's been doing since she's been signed? She's been developing. Y'all want to call NXT developmental. No. NXT, man, I'm tired of this argument. I've gone over it. NXT is not where the development happens. That's where the character development happens. But the development as a wrestler, it happens at the Performance Center. That happens, right? Jade Cargill needed some work in the ring. So you don't just go and put her and expose her weakness on NXT. You put her in the ring behind the scenes at the Performance Center. And she doesn't need to develop her character because it's pretty easy. She's got it down. That was the good part that she had in AEW. She had a character and she knew how to play it. You know what she needs? She needs ring work, right? She needs ring work. And you know where she got it? The Performance Center. So please understand this argument. NXT is not developmental in the way that you're using developmental of having to get her practice. No. You don't practice on TV. TV is the real game. You practice before the game. You don't put her in NXT. First off, where are you going to put? And this is the same response I'm going to have when people say, "Oh my, should have gone to NXT." Where are you going to put them? Where are you going to put Jade? You're gonna destroy the momentum of Roxanne and Lyra and all the other women that have gotten over just for Jade Cargill. You sacrifice careers for one person. No. WWE got they're smarter than this. She just needs to get some ring work. And guess what? She's getting it in the Performance Center with no rush. Triple H said there was no rush to debut her. There was no rush to debut her. But now let me propose. Let me propose why she's not on this card. Let me propose something for you. I believe the plan was Charlotte Flair. That's my wholehearted belief. That the plan was Charlotte Flair and Jade would meet in the Elimination Chamber. I think that's, Raquel would have probably not been in the match. And, who else was in that match? There would have been two women would have been taken. Probably Raquel and, I can't think of who else was in the match at the moment. But, I believe the original plan was to have Charlotte and Jade feud off and start their feud in the Elimination Chamber or at Royal Rumble, one of the two. That's my belief. But then Charlotte got hurt. Now, their response will be, well, you changed the plan. Adam Cole got hurt and they changed the... No. Now, look, you're telling stories here. Jade Cargill doesn't go out against mid-carders. You don't put Jade Cargill in a match against Shotzi. You don't put Jade Cargill in a match against Maxine. You don't put Jade Cargill in a match against low-tier wrestlers. I'm sorry, you just don't. She's a superstar already. This got the aura, right? Who has she stepped to? She stepped to the biggest names in the game. She says, I'm here to fight the stars. I don't want the bottom tier. I want the top. I'm at the top. Right? She stepped to Bianca. She stepped to Charlotte. She stepped to Kabuki. and Asuka and Io and all of them. Yeah, I'm kind of convinced the plan was Charlotte, and Charlotte got hurt, and they said, "Hey Jade, let's take it slow. We'll debut you eventually." Charlotte Flair's already doing planks and workouts. She'll be back at SummerSlam, if not before. I'm thoroughly convinced of this. This woman is obese. She's 10 weeks post-surgery of the ACL. Like at 10 weeks post-surgery when I blew my ACL out, I was still in therapy struggling. I was struggling just to walk. Charlotte Flair is a beast. That's the plan. There's 3 matches in WWE for Jade Cargill. Bianca, Charlotte, and Rhea. Those are the 3. You can take your time. You got all the time in the world to get to those 3 matches. Those 3 feuds. You don't put Jade Cargill in the ring with Michin. You just don't. They're trying to build a star here. So you think you win this trade? First off, this is not how trades work. But secondly, can we just discuss that WWE has no room for Deonna Purrazzo or Mariah May or Mercedes Moné? They really didn't have room for Trinity. Right? Can we just be honest here? Can we be honest? Can we tell the truth? WWE's roster. Mercedes Moné is not even top 10 active wrestler in the world right now because of, like, if she goes to WWE, she's not top 10 on the roster. She's not. When you got Tiffany, you got Rhea, you got Bianca, you got Raquel, you got Liv, Becky. You're not even top. Bayley, Io, Asuka, Kyrie, and then Mercedes. Right? So let's just be honest here. Tell the truth. Get out of your fandom. Right? Because the question he asked on his podcast about this post was like, who do you think won this? And they both said AEW, like we would expect, right? Well, no, let's back up. And I'm not saying this because it's WWE, right? Let's just back up for a minute. Back up for a minute. Who actually won this? Who actually won this deal? And it's obvious. It's WWE. It's obvious. Like, if you don't see it, you're crazy. It's obvious. WWE won that deal. Right? So now let's move into the good stuff, the stuff you came for. So let me ask this question. So we basically got 2 WeTooDeep questions of the week. The first one is this main topic, the title of this episode, and then we'll get to the actual one here in a minute. Do y'all really want IWC? Do you really want the Attitude Era? Now, I did a whole episode telling you why I thought the Attitude Era, looking back, was pretty fucking mid. Right? When you really look at the Attitude Era, the only people who looking back at it think that it's the greatest era of wrestling are those who lived through it and it's their childhood, which the nostalgia act. And that's it. It's the nostalgia. It's those who enjoy the nostalgia of the Attitude Era. But if you really look at it, was the product good? Come on now. Was the product good? It was not. Was not. Was there some good characters? Were there some standout stars? No, but let's just be honest. Ruthless Aggression was 10 times better than the Attitude Era. I think that's where we got to put the best era of wrestling, in the Ruthless Aggression era. That's just my opinion. And maybe it's because I'm living through it. But it's either Ruthless Aggression or I guess what they call like the Golden Era with Hogan in them. Because it wasn't that period of time in the early 90s before the Attitude Era where everything was just like you had a trash can guy, or a trash driver, and you had gimmicks for each career path. No, that was kind of corny, cartoonish, right? The Golden Era or the Ruthless Aggression era, to me, would have to be considered the greatest eras of wrestling of all time. I think we're reaching some new heights with wrestling now, and I think this Bloodline era may be up there as one of the greatest periods of time in wrestling. But with that, the question that I have is, do you really want the Attitude Era? Because so often we hear these complaints from the online fans. Oh, this PG era is killing wrestling. We need to go back to PG-14. We need to go back to the Attitude Era. And then the WWE starts to edge on some edgier things. And the internet just explodes. So I'm going to talk about Roman Reigns, but I put Candice LeRae on the picture for a minute because on Monday, now I planned this episode out either Monday morning or Sunday. Like, it's been about a week since the episode's been planned. It was probably right after the Roman Reigns problem happened that we'll talk about. Like it's almost been a week at this point that this has been planned. But then on Monday, Candice LeRae comes out and just goes full heel on Maxine Dupree, and one of the greatest things that I've ever seen. No one cared about Candice LeRae. No one cared about her. You know who's talking about Candice LeRae right now? A lot of people. Her stock skyrocketed. Candice LeRae. Now, if y'all know Candice LeRae from her indie days, like I said, 2014, 2015, 2016, she played a badass heel. Like, she was one of the top heels on the indie scene. This was when I was a little bit more hardcore of a fan and cared about the indie scene or women's wrestling, right? But she just, her stock, my investment in wanting to see Candice LeRae just went up. And everyone's like, oh, she crossed the... No, she didn't cross the line. She's making a story, dog. Like, first off, maybe this is just because I'm a little bit ignorant to it. I didn't even realize that the person playing Maxine Dupree had an actual brother die in 2017, which is true. But I took that line from a kayfabe on screen talking about Max Dupree. That's how I took it. So either way, like, it's a character. Like, I took it in the art of the character. Candice is playing a character. She didn't mean those things. She's playing a character, dog. Like, come on. Y'all get mad at movies when this shit happens? To build a story? Y'all really want the Attitude Era back? Do you really want it? Or do you just want to sit and bitch? Right? So let's talk about Roman. Let's get offensive for a minute. There's only two reasons why this Roman Reigns comment exploded on the internet. There's two reasons. The first is because of who said it. Roman Reigns. The absolute just hatred for this man. For no reason other than he's been the most dominant champion we've seen in probably 40 years. Right? They don't like this idea that Roman Reigns can do what he wants, when he wants, how he wants it. Right? And he's playing this character, and they want the reign done. They want Cody Rhodes as champion, and anything to get Roman Reigns off TV and out of the way, and never to come back, and not as champion. They thought that they could try to cancel this dog. Come on. Nah, it's not gonna happen. Especially when what he said was so mild. So the reason number one why this exploded is because of who said it. But reason number two is because of who he offended. Now this is where we're going to get offensive. If he would have made, first of all, I don't consider cross-dresser a slur, in my opinion. But if he would have made some sort of slur against any other people group on the planet, this wouldn't have been a big fucking deal. It's the community that he triggered and offended. It's the reason this is exploding. Dave Chappelle calls them the alphabet people. So that's what I'm going to call them. And they try to cancel Dave Chappelle, so they probably going to come after me saying this. Look, let me put this on the forefront. I don't give two shits what you do in your bedroom. I don't. Love who you love. That's fine with me. Right? But you lose me a little bit when you start talking it with the delulu. And we have to understand that, right? And so we have these people who you can't talk about. We have a community that is completely protected from critique in our culture. And you know how I know this? Because they're the same people that came after me almost a year ago when I made a simple statement that wrestlers shouldn't hold political signs. It wasn't about what was on the sign. It was just wrestlers shouldn't hold political signs on the clock, in the ring, promoting politics at work. That was all I said, right? Y'all remember this? And they went off saying, oh, you're this, that. And now, look, it's because of the people he offended. And so let's just be honest here. If Roman Reigns doesn't offend the alphabet people, the transgenders, and all the white knights that try to be allies, where they don't actually do anything to help. They just put the little flag on their profile and they yell and scream and moan and bitch whenever someone tries to critique somebody. But they don't donate. They don't help. They don't volunteer to help these people. Now, if there's really a crisis going on, why are you not helping? All you're doing is screaming at me. Right? One of my favorite rappers, his name's Chris Webby, representing Connecticut. In one of his songs, he's like, they don't donate or actually do nothing about it. They just sit there sipping Mountain Dew on their couches. And that's it. That's what these people are. It's these white knights who just sit there and, just sit there, bitching, moan about things they have nothing to deal with, and they don't do anything to actually help the situation of the so-called problem that they have. Right? Now my personal belief on this is first off, it's not really important in this conversation, but I just do I approve of the lifestyle? Absolutely not. I think, from a scientific standpoint, everything works in a binary, right? So, I don't want to get too deep into the political aspect of this, but the reason this became bigger than it was because of who got triggered. And then you're going to sit here and call Roman a bigot. Bro, it's a character. It's a character. Like, damn. Do you get mad at Leo DiCaprio because he played a white dude that said the N-word in a slave film? Like, I don't get it. It's a character, dude. I just don't get it. I don't get it. And I plan to say a lot more, but I'm gonna keep it mild. I'm gonna keep it mild today. No need to say things that really don't matter. I got opinions on this matter that are political, and I don't need to get political here. Right? Let's just keep it to wrestling. It's a character. They're telling a story. The Seth Rollins wears some crazy ass outfits. Yes, he wears women's clothes, but this isn't the first time Roman's called it out. But Seth Rollins, my dude, let's actually talk about this. Seth, there's a reason no one takes you serious. You wear women's clothes, dog. Come out here looking like you're volunteering for RuPaul's Drag Race. Hey, that's why no one takes you serious, dog. Oh, no one takes the title serious because Seth is in the middle. No one takes Seth serious because he's dressing in women's clothes. Let's just be fucking honest. and he's goofy, and he runs this line between heel and face where he tries to be like the sort of Joker character that would be very good if he went full heel, but instead he has to he has to sit and bathe in the praise of the crowd as well, and do all this good guy shit. Now, no one takes Seth Rollins seriously because he's goofy and he dresses in women's clothes. That's the truth. What are we doing today? We telling the truth. That's the truth. It's not that Seth Rollins championship means, you know why it means less? Because when they debuted it, it meant less because that's how they promoted it. I took it completely underneath Roman's title when they booked it as the Workman's Championship, where it's going to be defended. No, that's what you do with the IC title. Shit, the IC title has more prestige to me than the World Heavyweight Championship. When it's almost been a year since you've created it, you've had what, 3 feuds, and Seth Rollins hasn't lost it yet. It's almost been a year. Oh man, we hate these long title runs. Why is it not flipping hands? But they're not up in arms about it because it's not Roman Reigns. It is not Roman Reigns, so they're not going to bitch about a long title reign. So those are the 2 reasons. Let's tell the truth. The 2 reasons. Who said it? Roman Reigns. Who did he offend? The transgender community. Now, should you go out and actively try to offend these people? No. Absolutely not. But he said an innocent saying that was telling the truth. Seth, stop dressing in women's clothes, and dog. So the question is, do you actually want the Attitude Era back? And if you do, you're going to have to understand that some edgy shit's going to be done and said. Because if you don't want edgy, if you don't want Roman Reigns saying cross-dresser and Candice LeRae saying, oh, your dead brother, let's just talk about the hypocrisy for a minute, since people like to call it hypocrisy. Yo, that's the same fucking gimmick as Christian. I'd like the argument better from the IWC of, oh, they're ripping off Christian, rather than, oh, they went too far. No, it's fucking Christian, dude. Christian's allowed to fucking tell Brody Lee's son, oh, your dad's dead. But the second Candice LeRae brings up Maxine's dead brother, that's too far. Is it because she's a woman? Or is it because you're a hypocrite? All right, let's move on to the actual WeTooDeep question of the week. Let me know what you guys think about this topic. The question that I came up with, question of the week: does Dave Meltzer star ratings actually matter? And this came out of Revolution's star ratings came out, and I'm just confused as all hell. So this question to me, this is easy. No, they don't matter to me. Even if I was a hardcore fan, they wouldn't matter to me because they're confusing. So I got a question. For you. When you do a star rating, right? So let's, over here I'm drinking some bubbly. It's pretty good shit. And if I was making a video where I was ranking the different flavors of bubbly, right? And I said, oh, this is a 3-star, 3.2, 4.1, right? And I'm going off of a 5-point scale, right? If you know that I'm going off a 5-point scale, and I opened this can and drunk it and said, this is a 6-star. Y'all would be confused, right? Because there's a right. So here's my question, Meltzer. How many stars is a perfect match to you? Are you basing it off of 5-star? Okay, if 5 stars as high as you can go, why do you have 5.75 star matches? Why do you have 6-star matches? Right? And if 5's not as high as it goes, what's as high as it goes? Because if it's 10, then a 5.5, it doesn't mean much because that's a very mid match. So Meltzer, you got to lay out what you're doing here. You're doing it wrong one way or the other. But the second thing is they're biased towards certain wrestlers. Will Ospreay's getting a 5-star every match. Will Ospreay could step into the ring, do 3 moves, none of them exciting, and then the match can end, and Dave Meltzer is going to put it out and say it's a 6-star match, 7-star if it's in Tokyo, because he's biased towards Will Ospreay, and I love Will Ospreay. I think he's a top 3 wrestler in the world right now, but there's a bias there. If the Elite's in a match, it's getting a higher rating, right? You're not telling me that Kurt Angle has the less 5-star matches than the Elite. You're just not telling me that. Kurt Angle is one of the best wrestlers, pure wrestlers, to ever step in the ring. If we want to talk about dream match, right? Kurt Angle versus Chad Gable, both in their current Chad Gable versus prime Kurt Angle is a dream match to me. It's a match that will never happen that I want to happen. That's first off, that's the definition of dream match, by the way. Dream match isn't, oh, I got 14 people on the roster that I want to put. You know what? You don't have to dream about them because they're on the same roster. Just put them together. It's not a fucking dream match. But a dream match is Kurt Angle versus Chad Gable, because that match will never happen, and I can only visualize it in my dreams. It's Shawn Michaels versus Seth Rollins. It's Hulk Hogan versus Roman Reigns. Technically, Hulk Hogan would probably take the money to do that match, but we don't actually want to see it. But in the 80s, I would have, right? If Hulk Hogan's in his prime, I would have liked to seen it, right? We don't want to see it now. Please don't. And now that I put it in the universe, it's going to fucking happen. Right, but so what's the basis that we're judging on? Is it 5 out of 5 the highest match? And then secondly, if 5 out of 5 is perfect, right? If 5 out of 5 is perfect, and you're giving someone a 5.75, like you gave Ospreay's match against Takeshita, does that mean it's better than perfect? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense, dude. That doesn't. Like these ratings are so fucking biased, and they make no sense. If 5's as high as you can go, and you go off the, like, I can understand if you said that this is a great match, it's a 5-star match. That makes sense. But the problem the problem with it is he started doing these ratings where he had so many 5-star matches that this match was better than this other 5-star, so I have to give it a higher rating. And that's why these ratings mean jack shit. Meltzer's the only person that people go to when it comes to news channels, because he's been in the game the longest. He's been in since the 80s. But now that the internet's a thing and people can sort of just see what he says without having to subscribe to his newsletter, people are seeing how much crock of shit this guy is selling. And the same thing is sort of happening. Brian Alvarez, I think, works with Meltzer, but the same thing's sort of happening to people like Sean Ross Sapp, right? Where people like me who don't subscribe to Fightful, right? And Sean Ross Sapp's Patreon, we don't really pay attention to it, but we see it, and we see how much crap is spreading, right? Like, I can't even see Sean Ross Sapp's tweets because he blocked me because he's a pussy, but that might be the most offensive thing I said all day. Oh, man, that's crazy. But yeah, no, to answer the question, no, these ratings mean jack shit in the grand scheme of things. You could put on a 5-star match and not tell a story, and I'm gonna be bored as shit. Cool. You hit 18 Canadian destroyers, about killed yourself 4 times, and probably shorten your lifespan by 10 years. But you got a 5-star match, so that's all that matters. So no, that's not how this works. So does the Meltzer star rating matter to you? Let me know in the comment section or in the Discord link in the description. Let's go to the WeTooDeep top 10. This week, we're talking women's wrestlers. So this got a lot more interesting on Tuesday's episode when I mentioned I was doing this, and me and Wavy D had a little conversation about Becky Lynch, right? It's sort of a preview of my list, right? And so he sent me his top. He sent 25. This dude was prepared, of all-time WWE wrestlers. Now, I'm just going to read his top 10 because I'm only doing my top 10. I got some questions with this list here, Wavy D, that I want to address before I give give my list. So I'm just going to read his list, not going to really explain his reasoning, but I'm going to ask some questions. So 1, he has Charlotte. 2, he has Rhea. 3, he has Bianca. 4th is Beth Phoenix. 5th is Asuka. 6th is Gail Kim. 7th is Tiffany Stratton. 8th is Bayley. 9th is Michelle McCool. 10th is Sasha Banks. That motherfucker did this on purpose. And then 11th is Becky Lynch. We'll just continue going down, actually. 12th, Mickie James. 13th, Io Sky. 14th, AJ Lee. 15th, Liv. 16th, Zoe Stark. 17th, Paige. 18th, Alexa Bliss. 19th, Trish Stratus. 20th, Piper Niven. 21st, Kairi Sane. 22nd, Nikki Bella. 23rd, Lita. 24th, Naomi. 25th, and I'm honored you put her this high on the list because, look, I love this girl, but she's not top 25 of all time. Dakota Kai, my love. The way he likes Asuka is the way I love Dakota Kai. But so I got some questions, especially with the top 10. So first off, Becky Lynch is top 10. We got to stop fucking around, right? I can understand you not saying she's not the top dog, but come on, Becky Lynch is top 10 of all time. And so you can replace her. It's easy. Take Tiffany Stratton out. I'm sorry, Tiffany's going to be great, but I get this. I look at this list and I look at, okay, so he's looking at a lot of potential here with a lot of these wrestlers. Like Tiffany Stratton has the potential to be top 10. Tiffany Stratton has the potential to be top 3, top 4. Absolutely. But is she 7th right now? I just can't see it. So that's really my only question. Outside of, I know why Lita and Trish are so low for him is because he views them as, they didn't really have much competition, so that's why they're remembered. But I'll get to that in a minute. And then my other question is Nikki Bella, but I'll address her in a minute as well. So let's get to my list, and I'm going to explain each pick. Let's get to my list. I'm going to start at 1. Y'all gonna be triggered on this list. Y'all were triggered. I put Booker T at 10 last week. Y'all gonna be triggered with some of this list, right? I think you are. So number one, greatest women's wrestler of all time, to WeTooDeep. It's already known. It's Becky Lynch. And this changed. So let me go ahead and give number 2 so I can address this fully. Number 2 is Charlotte. And this changed probably around November or December last year, whenever she went down to NXT and started putting over superstars down there. Because when I do my rankings, there's 3 categories. Your resume in the ring, like your resume, how many championships you won, right? Your kayfabe resume, that's important. And I'll go ahead and be honest and admit Charlotte wins that. Charlotte wins, absolutely. Your in-ring skill set, Charlotte probably wins that one. But then there's this third category that I think is just as important, if not more important, than the other 2. What have you done for the business? How have you helped the business? Have you put anybody over? Not saying Charlotte hasn't. I'm a little bitter, though, that Charlotte went in WrestleMania 36. Still pisses me off that WrestleMania 36, she went in, won the Royal Rumble, challenged Rhea Ripley, and instead of putting Rhea Ripley over, took the NXT title for no reason. Like when Becky went down and took the NXT title, there was a reason to it. She had never won it. She wanted to be a Grand Slam champion. And then in the process, she put over and had banger matches with a lot of women who weren't getting time on TV. And so for me, that is what sets Becky Lynch apart. Is not only has she done a lot in the ring, and not only has she been very successful, whether or not she would have been successful had Nia Jax not broken her nose is completely irrelevant. Circumstances happened, right? That's completely irrelevant. And Becky Lynch has taken this star power as one of the top women on the rosters right now for the last several years. And instead of sort of moving to, part-time schedule, she comes in and she puts on matches and she puts people over. In a loss, Tiffany Stratton still went over. And then in a reaction to Tiffany losing the title, which needed to happen anyway, you put Lyra Valkyria over as well, who put on a banger match against Becky Lynch. You see, that is important. Becky Lynch is top dog, not because she's the best on the mic, because she's not because she's the best in the ring, because she's not because she has the best resume, because she doesn't, but because she has, she's an 8 out of 10 in those areas. But when it comes to putting people over and helping the business grow and succeed, Becky Lynch is a 10 out of 10. And I don't get that from Charlotte. I don't. Here recently, Charlotte started to come back and start losing. But for a while, like, Charlotte's whole thing was, I'm gonna go on my spring vacation after Mania. I'll come back at SummerSlam. I'll win the title, and we'll start the cycle all over again. Right? And I sort of discredit 9 of her title reigns because she was playing hot potato with the damn bitch with Sasha Banks throughout 2016 and 2017, literally like 2-week reigns. So no diss to Charlotte. Charlotte Flair, when history is finished, when the business is done, when the world ends, there's no one going to take Charlotte Flair off the top 4, right? But Becky Lynch is going to be there with her, and I think Becky Lynch will be number 1. Charlotte Flair is number 2, probably the best in-ring person of all time. I'll give her that. But when it comes to all of the rankings combined, Charlotte Flair is not number 1. She's number 2. Number 3, Trish Stratus. The 2 I just mentioned would not have a division to fight in if it wasn't for Trish Stratus. And you could sit here and argue like Wavy D did that she had no competition and listen, Trish Stratus came back in this current generation and put on a banger match at 50 years old. I believe prime Trish Stratus would come in and dominate this division. She's given to the business. She's helped the business. She's got a resume that speaks for itself. She's pretty decent in the ring. She's not the best in the ring. But you can't get past the fact that what she did for the business and helping it grow is important. Trish Stratus is number 3. We can't take away from her career just because she didn't have as stacked of a roster as we have now. Right? Now, she's not going to be ever number 1. But there's an argument to say that, top 3 right now. I think when the dust settles, Bianca will be up here. There'll be several others that'll be up closer that will knock Trish out of the top 5 when the dust settles at the end of careers. But as we stand right now, Trish Stratus is top 3. Number 4, Mickie James, not just in WWE, but in TNA. She just put over Trinity. And in TNA about 3, 4, 5 months ago, right before Trinity got here. Mickie James has done a lot for the business. She's done a lot in the business. And yeah, she's one of those stars that just, she's not the best in any category. But I just, when I think of women's wrestling, I know a lot of people are like, well, where's Gail Kim? Because I'll be honest, Gail Kim's not on this list. But when I think of women's wrestling outside of WWE, I think of Mickie James. I don't think of Gail Kim. That's just me, honestly. That's just me being completely honest. Number 5. This is where the triggering is going to start, if it hasn't already. Number 5, Nikki Bella. And I'm sorry, you're not going to tell me Nikki Bella is not top 5, at least right now. Like I said, when the dust settles, and some of these women that are wrestling now's careers are over, yeah, Nikki Bella won't be top 5. But as we currently sit, Nikki Bella before this women's revolution started, but sort of after the AJ Lee era, Nikki Bella ran this division for like a year and a half by herself. Some shitty booking going on in the women's division with zero care, like 5-minute matches. But Nikki Bella still managed to be interesting and carry the division. And I know y'all gonna be mad at it, but it is what it is. Nikki Bella deserves to be on this list, and I think top 5 fits her. Number 6 is Lita. Amy Dumas. You can't leave her off this list. You just can't. You just can't. That's the explanation. Same reason as Trish helped carry a division through a very interesting time in women's wrestling history. And I still believe that prime Lita could go in this division. I really do. Number 7, Chyna. She has to be on this list. She has to be on this list. She carried the late 90s for the women's division. The only woman to ever win an Intercontinental Championship. Without Chyna, I dare say the idea of intergender wrestling doesn't happen. That you can take stronger looking women, the more masculine looking women and use them, because the idea at the time was you needed the feminine woman, right? You needed the girls that were super feminine to display femininity, right? But then Chyna came on the scene and she was feminine, but also she was a little bit more masculine, and she could go with the boys. If we're going to praise DX, you got to praise Chyna because she was part of it. So, yeah, Chyna has to be on this list. Number 8, Rhea Ripley. Now, is Rhea Ripley currently, as we stand, the best women's wrestler in the world? Yes. When the dust settles, I believe Rhea Ripley will be top 3. I believe you will get Becky, Rhea, Charlotte. Or Becky, Charlotte, Rhea will actually be my rankings when the dust settles. But that's going to be a long time from now. Because Rhea Ripley's 27 years old this year. She'll be 28 this year. Rhea's got a long time left in her life to wrestle, like a long career, at least 10 more years that we could see Rhea. And that's the scary part about women's wrestling today, because women typically only ran like 5-6 year careers, right? And then they were sort of just put backstage. Rhea Ripley is 26, 27. Tiffany Stratton's like 24. Roxanne's like 21. Thea Hale's 19. We got some women here that are already superstars that have potential, that by the time their career ends, they could have 30-year careers and still be in their 40s and retire. That's the scary part right here. Right? But yeah, Rhea Ripley at number 8. And again, I don't look at potential. I don't look at potential. She has the potential to be top 3. She has the potential to be number 1. Rhea Ripley does, of all time. But as we currently sit with what I've already seen, not looking to the future, but looking at the present and what we've already seen in the past, Rhea Ripley's number 8. Number 9, Alundra Blayze / Madusa. For what she did during the Monday Night Wars and how that she carried women's wrestling. And you got to give her a little bit of respect there. And she was pretty decent in that era. Right? Alundra Blayze is important to women's wrestling. So you got to put her on this list. And then number 10. Now take the 3 categories. Take the 3 categories that I'm judging on. In-ring ability, promo ability, and what have you done for the business? How have you helped? Who have you put over? Number 10, we got to give this woman some flowers. We got to give her some flowers. for longevity of career, for a decent resume, not the biggest resume, not the best promo, not the best in ring, but you can go. But it's more about who she's put over, how she's helped grow the business. So who is this woman put over? I don't know. Charlotte Flair? Helped her become a megastar in NXT? Y'all know who I'm talking about yet? She's put over a lot. She's put over a lot. It's Natalya. And I shit on Natalya all the time. Anytime her music plays, I roll my eyes back. But when we actually, what's the theme of this episode? Tell the truth. When we actually tell the truth and we actually judge this from a non-biased situation, Natalya's top 10 all time right now. Now, again, when the dust settles and Bianca's career is done and Tiffany's career is done and the potential of maybe Roxanne's career, right? When careers are finished, maybe we knock her off the list. Maybe Alundra Blayze comes off the list. Maybe Lita comes off the list. But as we stand right now, Natalya's top 10 of all time. She's helped the business grow in numerous ways. Should she be on TV now? No. But, she's training the next generation right now of male and female wrestlers with her husband. She's been women's champion multiple times. She can actually wrestle. Like when she gets in the ring, if we could just watch her matches, not rolling our eyes back, and we actually watch it, she can go. Like I said, she put over Charlotte. She can go, man. She can go. And I think we got to give her some credit for that. And if we tell the truth, Natalya's top 10 right now of all time. All right, that's my top 10 list. Next week, we're doing tag teams. This one's going to be a little bit difficult for me because I'm not the biggest fan of tag team wrestling. But tag teams are going to be next week on next Friday. Hope y'all enjoyed this episode of the Slapping Me Wrestling podcast. Again, all the links that I mentioned at the beginning of the episode are in the description. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank y'all for listening. I do appreciate it. To the squad that watches every single episode, I really appreciate you. And y'all deserve a shout out as well, all of y'all. And those who, sort of help form questions and form the show, thank you. I appreciate it a lot. But until then, until Tuesday, I'm WeTooDeep. This is the Slapping Me Wrestling podcast. Hopefully I have a co-host when he comes back. He don't tear down Miami. And I have a co-host on Tuesday, but we'll see. So hopefully we got Wavy D on Tuesday and nothing bad happens. But enjoy your trip, my dog, and I will see all of y'all on Tuesday here on the Slapping Me Wrestling podcast.
Brother, I'm going run a wild Hulk Hogan. If I get some moment, I'll make sure it's an explosion. 'Cause lately I've been seeing